Why, hello there, high and low elves alike. Shams Nelson here from Pen and Blade. And in this episode, we're going to do some world building on the map I did before. And afterwards, I'm going to open up these random encounter dice and do a box opening, unboxing video on that, which I'll post tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. But in this episode, I wanted to go through my kind of this world building method I have. And this is the map that I showed you guys how to draw this new mountain style and forest style variation of some other tutorials I've done. And then I added all these lands. And so I have a theme. So let's get started. All right, so first off, I kind of like to have like an idea of maybe modeled on a real life situation or world. So this one, I was thinking of the east coast of the United States, and that there's another land over here, and this is like the new world being discovered. So I created these mountains, I think the Appalachian Mountains or something, but basically a mountain range that stops like much expansion further west. And so it kind of isolates this region, which makes it easier to play with. I like to isolate an area. If I don't want to make it an island, then maybe make a mountain range or a large forest or something to kind of make it easier for me to get the full feeling of this whole world. And there are still a couple gaps, so if you guys have some ideas of what you want me to throw in there, please let me know in the comments. So what I did is I decided that when the Pilgrims came over, they wanted freedom from oppression in the land in a very vague, overarching way. So let me work with that. So I decided that in the West there's this land ruled by drow elves, and drow elves aren't the nicest. So there's a strict hierarchy, and it goes drow elves, elves, humans, and then half elves, because half elves are considered like half-breed scum. So half elves are the ones who were the first to come over here, and they founded this city right here on the delta. So I was looking up the coast, I'm like, where would they want to land? Like, oh, look at that, a river delta, so it's probably fertile lands for them to do some farming, easy living. So they founded the city of Friedal. All right. And then, so the method I kind of like to use is to start figuring out what the first cities of each major civilization is, and then I work from there. I decided that then the humans would have come over, because humans like to do stuff when they're like, oh, that's a new idea, let's do that. So the humans, they decided like, you know what, we don't need to get mixed up in all this elven stuff, because I figured that half elves were always slaves. Humans, like a lot of them are slaves, maybe there's a working class too, but they're always on the low thing. So they're like, let's just start our own thing. So they stick to the south, and they came to this, created a fortress city in the mountains. Alviasol was the first city for the humans. Okay? So they did it in the mountains because they wanted something defensible. They were kind of expecting that they were going to get attacked or bothered or whatever. So they're like, you know what? We're ready for that. All right? Then we have up here New Koth. So I feel like that's like, New York in the way that they would name it after a city that they already have. So Koth might be a huge city there. And so they established it in this bay, and this is pure blood bay. It's probably maybe it's a little tougher to navigate into there. And it's probably really beautiful and epic scenery with cliffs and waterfalls or whatever. So it seems like a kind of place the drow would be like, okay, we need the nicest, coolest place. So that's how I figured that. But so then working from that, I was able to say like, all right, let's do some expansion. So let's start with Friedal. They crossed the river, Zalin, maybe this is where they get some metals, they need some metals. Just moving up the river, like just settling along the river seems like a nice thing to do. And I decided to put orcs up here. All right, so you'll see that the names kind of changed, Salkath and Forsok. So maybe there are like half like quarter, half orc, quarter elf, quarter humans, mixed up into here. But I feel like for some reason I decided that they more or less get along. And then Gelgolan became a fortress because, that's the front. So from New Koth, these are, and I figured that Friedal, like maybe they expanded all up in here before New Koth was founded. So these are the lost lands. These used to be half-elf lands, but they were conquered by the elven armies. So the drow have elven armies, and so the elves are kind of like they have to serve the drow. So that actually brings us over to Melianis. I was thinking, well, what about the elves who come here? There's probably some who are like, wait, look, the half-elves are living free. The humans are living free. Why can't we elves live free from the drow elves? And so I decided, like, they would probably, go far out, because elves are, they go into the forest, they're rangers and stuff, and a settlement would be created hidden deep in the mountains. You know what I'm saying? Or in the mountain forests. So I thought that was a cool idea. And so this would be a big, like, battleground right here, where these are the lost lands that they want to regain. And so, yeah, so that's kind of like the basic world building that I had going on there. And so those are the main races that I kind of distinguish between monstrous races and humanoid, or like PC races. I don't know, or NPC. It's tough to say, but I kind of distinguish these are like the main characters, I guess is maybe the best way to put it. Those three races are the main characters of this region. And the orcs, even though they were there first, it's kind of like the Native Americans, where it's like the Native Americans sadly are not the main characters of the story of the United States once the colonizers started coming in. You know what I'm saying? So again, I'm using history and kind of reflecting it in this fantasy world building. So I started adding some elements. This is why I said it was incomplete, because I feel like we still need some elements here, down here. But I'll show you what I started. We got the lizard folk swamp. Decided that this delta area, which I kind of modeled after New Orleans, where there's the Mississippi River Delta kind of spills out and creates this crazy thing. And so, like, lizard folk and dinosaurs and stuff. I think I was almost going to call it the dino swamps. So I thought that would be cool, and that's kind of the main battle that the humans deal with, the lizard folk and the humans. So there's Fort Kentis, where they watch out for lizard folk attacks on these kind of settlements, and that's why they can't really push too far south. And then Zalthor's plain up here. So you see this that's Zalthor's cave. He's a blue dragon, and these are his hunting grounds. They're like, like buffalo herds or horses or something more exotic. Giant badgers. I don't know why I said giant badgers. Dire badgers. And so he hunts them. So no, you don't go in Zalthor's plains unless you want to be hunted by Zalthor. All right? That's what happened to Slum Glen. They tried to build a city up there, and Zalthor was like, you know what? I don't like that. Boom. Just decimated it. It was terrible. And now it's a slum. It wasn't called Slum Glen before. You guys can let me know what it was called in the comments before. But now only the like criminals and outcasts and crazy people go and live in the ruins of Slum Glen, hoping that. And Zalthor doesn't really pay attention because there's only like a handful of people maybe. But that's the story. And what's to stop Zalthor? He could mess with anyone. So that's another plot hook waiting to happen. So, yeah, I hope this idea, this kind of gave you guys, inspired you in your world building a little bit. Again, my main thing is to kind of choose the main characters, to think of each civilization as a main character, and then decide where their first city was, Friedal, Alveosol, and New Koth, and then use that to expand outwards, and then try to create a natural progression and think, like, imagine in my mind the story as I go. I don't remember all the details now because it's been a little while since I drew all this out, but that's kind of cool because as in real history, the details of why people settled where and who made what exact decision get lost and become folklore and legend. All right, so until next time, you guys, and don't forget to stay tuned for the unboxing of the random encounter dice, and also a giveaway. Oh, I forgot to mention, I'm going to be doing a giveaway of some dice. Why didn't I say that in the beginning? Cool. So I got to up my marketing game. All right, you guys, keep your sword hand strong and your pen arm swift, my friends.